So, Angelique, talk to me about stress, environmental factors, and how they all show up in our skin.
Yes. Well, I'll start with stress first. Like I mentioned before, some of the biggest transformations that I've had in the skin have been with clients that are carrying grief. Maybe they were a caregiver, lost a loved one, and typically their needs kind of get neglected during that time in their skin. And so when you can put them on the table and pamper them and nurture them and then really, stimulate the skin and everything, it's amazing how much you can rejuvenate the skin. But you can see grief and sadness, in the skin. So that's one aspect. Then there's the aspect of, women that are getting constant breakouts because of stress, those elevated cortisol levels, the elevated inflammation within the body. It often leads to digestive issues, and digestion is, our other brain, it's that gut-brain connection. So that plays such a huge role in everything. If my clients have rosacea, if my clients have acne, there's a lot of different elements. Environmental factors, interestingly enough, I had a client one time that came to me that she had a rare autoimmune disorder. And she came to me because her skin was getting inflamed and cracking after a couple days of working at home. And she had recently bought a beach house and had it renovated, and she's like, I don't know that things are draining properly. I think I might have some mold in the house. No. So I sent her to an integrative practitioner because I just intuitively and logically knew that I wanted to treat her with kid gloves. That she had been from doctor to doctor to doctor trying to figure out what was going on with her skin. And so we did change the type of wine she was drinking. That was one aspect. But my practitioner went over and saw that when she opened the elevator, he could just smell the black mold. And he's like, wow. You've got to get remediation in here immediately. So what was happening was that she would work from home for a couple days. The black mold was triggering her autoimmune issue. Oh no. And what was interesting was, had I put her on the standard anti-inflammatory diet, it would have acted opposite based on her autoimmune issue than it would have. But then if you treated the mold, then it would have flared up the autoimmune. So it was a very complex case. What we found was she grew up in an area up in New Jersey that previous December, somebody was in prison for dumping toxic waste on their land, and it seeped into the groundwater. And she had 4 sisters that had died of reproductive cancers by the age of 36. She was the only remaining sister, and she had this rare autoimmune issue. So environmental, right? It was like kind of like an Aaron Brockovich situation. So what was happening, and I'm seeing this becoming more common, especially with mold exposure or chemical exposure. If people's skin is becoming rashy and inflamed or cracking, it's like the body's trying to push it out. It's trying to purge. So, she was able, between IV therapy, we changed her skincare, changed her wine, she got the mold remediation, and there were different things that we did. So everything was put back into balance. And then, of course, I recommended detox protocols. I sent her some the information of a naturopath that's a detox specialist and stuff. So that's huge. Stress, environment, toxins, heavy metals and toxins in the system can attack your own natural collagen, causing skin laxity. So really, we slow down on producing hydrochloric acid in our stomach, stem cells, which are responsible for repairing all the tissues and organs within the body, and collagen. And so a lot of times I place my clients on nutrition to supplement the collagen, have antioxidants, so that way it helps reduce the free radical damage, and then binders to help remove heavy metals and toxins that could be attacking their own natural collagen. So all of those things definitely play a role. And it's interesting because years ago when I hit the wall in corporate America, I used to have 11s. And so, and it was funny because, number one, 11s can often indicate, first of all, if you have inflammation in this area, then I can tell if people have been whining and dining, just you get inflammation. It's connected to the liver. You might need liver detox. But I also noticed stress. So between scrunching my eyebrows, looking at a computer screen all day long, and then I had a stressful marriage at the time also, it's interesting how once I redesigned my life, those 11s went away.
Yeah.
And so, and every once in a while, like if I catch myself scrunching, you know, maybe due to stress or something, I'll look in the rearview mirror. I'm like, oh no, I massage it out and just massage it. And sometimes you need to move the lymph fluid and stuff, you know, that gets backed up in the system. But those things definitely play a role in the appearance of your skin. Brightness of your eyes, dark circles, you know, there's a lot there. And I will say this too now, because so many people are going on Ozempic and GLP-1s and all of that. We're on the verge of a skin laxity crisis that's coming down the pike. The reason for that is because typically doctors will give the script, but they don't follow up with any coaching when it comes to nutrition and supplementation.
Yeah.
So if you're not feeding your skin properly and you've curbed your appetite, I had a client tell me the other day, I'm only eating 600 calories a day. And I'm like, no, you need to be eating 1,400 and make every meal count. It needs to be nutritionally dense, and you need vitamins and minerals and supplements on top of that. That's the reason we're seeing sagging skin with clients on GLP-1s.
Well, also the thing is, it's not a quick fix. I mean, it is, but my thing with like Ozempic and GLP-1 is that it's supposed to teach you, if you have an overeating problem, it's supposed to teach you how to eat. And then you're able to get off of it.
Yes.
All these people I see that are getting on it are just using it as their crutch.
Correct.
That's their pill for the rest of their life, or not their pill, but their injection for the rest of their life. And they're still eating junk. They're still eating processed foods to where there's nothing in it, and now they're eating even less calories. You're still getting nothing, but even less of nothing.
Absolutely. You cannot bypass the behavior modification. Like, I don't care what program you go on, if it's a shake program, if it's a GLP-1, no matter what, you have to increase your energetic output, you have to increase your nutritional density, and you need to cut the junk, you know, and doctors don't typically have time to handhold in that arena. You know, they just kind of diagnose and prescribe. And it's another reason why also I'm not a big fan of bariatric surgery. Most of my clients that have had bariatric surgery end up with skin laxity. They end up losing hair, thinning hair.
Can you explain what that is again?
Yeah, so there's a couple different procedures. There's the lap band, where they put a band around your stomach to shrink the capacity. And then there's the old-fashioned style, which is where they actually cut and staple the stomach to make it smaller. Crazy. And so really it's kind of like becoming, all of my clients, they end up becoming nutrient deficient because you are minimizing not only what they're eating, but the amount of space for absorption of nutrients. And so they end up losing weight quickly, maybe within the first year or two. But then what I see is if they have not addressed their relationship with food and that behavior modification, then the pendulum swings back and they tend to gain a lot of that weight back. But now they have thinning hair, sagging skin, and hormonal imbalances as well.
Malnutrition.
Right, exactly. So you know, in my practice, we do offer GLP-1s, but the reason that I did that was to make sure that I pair them with health coaching. And if I feel that they're not willing to make the changes, or if I have any concerns, I just don't onboard them as a client. I just have that talk with them that they need to change certain things before we consider putting them on one of those programs. Just because I want to set them up for maximum success, because otherwise what's going to happen is they're going to quit, and the moment that they quit because it becomes too expensive, the pendulum is going to swing back the other direction. Kind of like with HCG back in the day. They used to prescribe HCG and phentermine and stuff and put people on a 500 calorie diet. It's just not long-term sustainable, you know, so we need to get back to eating real food.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah, and then most of the people that become symptomatic on that stuff, I find too, are the ones that are not moving their body, and they're either not eating enough. I have to tell them, like, a yogurt is not a meal. You know, you need like a hard-boiled egg, a slice of avocado, like let's add to that some berries. Or they're still thinking that they're going to continue eating the way that they eat, but just eat less of it. Like, if you're going to sit on the couch and eat Doritos, then you're probably going to end up with nausea and
Yeah.
constipation and like lots of other
I've
issues.
even noticed in my own life, I eat pretty much everything at home. But the few times, like the last time I went out to the movies, I never go out to the movies. But whenever I do, I'm like, oh, I want to get the popcorn. I want to get like some candy. And I just got, I think like Sour Patch Kids or something. And I understand what's in them, but I was like, I haven't had them in a long time. I had the worst stomach ache I've ever had in a long time whenever I was eating them. And it was the fact that I had such a small amount. You know, those little things where there's not a lot in there. It's not one of those big like 5-pound bags. But I was just astounded. I was like, I've been eating so good that my body is so used to all the nutritious stuff that's like, what is this?
Yeah.
Get this out of my body right now. And I was like, oh, this is not fun. But I've learned like the hard way that like, because I have been following such a healthy, sustainable diet, it's become so hard for me to stray from that.
Right.
And I feel like once people do find their footing whenever they start eating more whole foods, eating more real, nutritious and rich foods, they will find it harder to come off of that and to go down junk food and processed stuff.
Yeah, I can't, like, I have to be careful with seed oils now. It gives me the worst, like, acid indigestion if I have something fried in seed oils. It's like when you're used to eating good quality foods, it's just, it's a disruption to your system when you try to, when you try to eat something that's inferior quality, your body notices it right away, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and even for that matter, you were asking earlier about how food and stuff like that shows up in the skin. I mean, when I was an acne specialist, I could tell according to Chinese face mapping what organs were having issues, but also there's like wine face, dairy face, sugar face. Gluten face. Yeah, and it is interesting how it shows up differently based on the foods that your body is expressing an intolerance to.
So what about women? Like I know even myself, whenever I'm menstruating or right about to, that's the only time I get acne.
Yeah.
That's the only time.
That has to do with the hormonal fluctuations. And what happens is that there's an enzyme in the body that eats dietary fats and hormones. And if you have a hormonal fluctuation, it'll prioritize eating the excess hormones and send the dietary fats to the skin. So it's just kind of this chain reaction. And you'll notice it's exacerbated if you have consumed, dairy, sugar, gluten, those things, because of the inflammation that it puts in the body. So it's just kind of that compounding effect. I have also even seen, I had a client that she was vegan and she was coming to me with acne that was ongoing. In some cases, when I know clients are really compliant with their diet and they're really healthy, I may ask them to run a food intolerance test because sometimes there may be something that you would never expect. And I have seen some unusual intolerances like garlic, onions, blackberries.
Oh, wow.
With her in particular, it came back wheat, barley, hops.
And all of her whole grains.
Yeah, so what was interesting was she would get together with her family 2 to 3 nights a week and she'd have 2 or 3 beers. And even though she only had a mild intolerance to each of those, the fact that it had multiple ingredients in one beverage, multiple beverages, multiple times per week, it had a compounding effect and it was just setting off a bomb in her system. So we switched her to ciders. She did really well with that. But she still was getting a lot of acne along her jawline, and that was attributed to the birth control that she was taking.
Yeah.
I saw with the Mirena, they changed the formulation, and I started noticing clients coming in that had small, like tiny little, like cystic seeds in their jawline. But with her, she was happy because she could take pictures. Like this finally looked good and clear, and she just knew she'd have to come in occasionally to have her jawline cleared up. That was more easily concealed. So at least we got to the root of the problem.
So if you had some people coming in to ask you some questions, like for anyone listening to this or watching this, what is like the basics someone should try to focus on to improve their skin health? We already talked about nutrition, but if you have recommendations on foods to eat, on recommendations on what to put on your face, Please, I'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. So the basic fundamentals of skin health are proper oil and proper water balance. I find that people tend to be too harsh with their skin to where they're stripping and drying, especially my generation. We grew up, everything was like oil-free. We had harsh astringents, and a lot of that was because we didn't have the variety of cleansers we have today. We were using soap, and it was created soap scum, so you had to like remove it from your face. And we thought because it was burning that it was working. You know,
it hurts because it's working.
Yeah, it's effective. So I always say start with a good creamy cleanser. Creamy cleansers typically are not going to strip the oils from your skin. It's going to leave everything hydrated. That good quality oil is what locks in the hydration in your skin and provides that protective barrier so the water doesn't evaporate out of the surface of your skin, like walking to your car or whatever. Like here in Florida, we're always exposed to the sun. So when you start with that, and you're not stripping your skin, then you don't need a ton of products to replace what you've taken away. So starting with that, then sometimes maybe either a hyaluronic acid serum to increase the water in your skin, or a lightweight moisturizer. Sun protection, if you're gonna use sun protection, always mineral SPF, like zinc oxide, titanium oxide, because it creates an actual physical layer over your skin that reflects the sun's rays, rather than sunscreen, which is chemical based. It filters the sun's rays. Then you have to have a higher SPF. The higher the SPF, the more chemicals.
Yeah.
And some of them are flammable. And I was on a boat one time, I went deep sea fishing, and the captain of the boat showed me the aerosol will actually take the iridescent finish off of sunglass lenses.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, stop, don't use aerosol. This was before I was an esthetician. And when he showed me that, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, totally. And it's not good for coral reefs and stuff too, if you're concerned about the planet. But so really just keeping it simple. You know, I think that's the biggest thing. I see too many people using too many like acids and exfoliants, and you know, and it's just too much,
like AHAs, BHAs,
and then retinol, and then you know, and they're just so many things, and I was guilty of that even when I was in school. Like I was like, I don't want crow's feet, I want anti-aging. And one day I woke up and my face felt like fire. It was so highly sensitized. And I went to advanced training, and my trainer was from London, and she said, you don't have fine lines and wrinkles. She goes, you're dehydrated. And so I was like, what? So I switched from all the harsh anti-aging stuff to calming, soothing, hydrating, and nourishing. And my skin plumped up and smoothed out and got really happy. So I was like, oh, I was just shriveling up like a raisin. So I learned a valuable lesson with that. So sometimes less is more. Go gentle. You know, your skin it serves a purpose, and you've got to love on it and be kind to it, not be so harsh. But as far as like, you know, the nutritional aspect, we need good quality fats to feed the skin. A lot of my ladies that went through the whole non-fat, low-fat craze back in the 80s, they're not aging well because they didn't feed their skin well, and so they tend to get more crepey and saggy skin. So good quality fats, all of your antioxidants, you got to eat the rainbow, you know, to really just feed and nourish your skin and everything. Being mindful of the quality of products that you're using. I use either all organic or naturally based products. The reason I say naturally based is because sometimes there's more biotechnology that includes peptides. Peptides are chains of amino acids that are the building blocks of the proteins in our skin, so it can help with skin repair. So sometimes we may need a little extra something besides just the botanicals. Or even sometimes there are things like, believe it or not, snail secretions.
I've used some of those.
Yeah. So depending on your philosophy on things, you know, believe it or not, that actually does work really well to help with wrinkles. So I would say, you know, just making sure things are clean. That's a big thing. Clean, naturally based, make sure that you're eating properly. And then, you know, it's so funny because I'll do, I have treatments like non-surgical facelift, which are non-invasive. And they asked me, well, how long do the results last? And I'm like, well, are you going to sit on the beach and drink wine all day? Yeah. Or are you like, do you avoid the sun and avoid alcohol? So it's lifestyle definitely plays a role in that as far as and what's interesting now is I actually look now younger now in my late 40s than I did in my mid 30s. A lot of that was stress and diet and everything else. So the lifestyle changes. It's like the photos speak for themselves. Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
Well, I know the first time I met you, I was like, you like in the best way possible. You look like you have Botox. Like you don't look your age because you don't show the signs of aging. And it's because you know what to do to take care of your skin without having to inject the toxins into your skin.
Yeah, peptides are a big one. There's certain peptides that with consistent use over time topically, it'll relax and release the facial expressions without having to use something like Botox. Taking a good collagen supplement, type 1 marine collagen, is closest to our skin, hair, and nails natural collagen production. There's different collagens that are good for different things. Some are bone and joints, some for gut health, so it's a matter of how it functions in the body. But I also make sure that everything is sourced from like Norway, from clean Scandinavia waters. I've had clients that brought me formulas that were sourced from like carp and tilapia and stuff like that, and like the main ingredient was hyaluronic acid, and I was like, yeah, that's not a good quality, and some people compare price, but I compare formulation, absorption rate, and sourcing.
Yeah, you're focused on the actual results.
Right, right. Otherwise, I don't want you putting stuff in your system that actually could be even more harmful and detrimental, than beneficial. So those are kind of some of the basics, and just being kind to yourself. Making sure, even just from a detox perspective, breath. Is the biggest way that we release toxins and detox. Making sure that your system is regular, that your digestion is regular, your digestion is balanced. That's really extremely important.
Yeah, I try to always have some fermented foods in my diet multiple times a week. I'm a big fan of kimchi. The only problem is I need to start making my own because I go through it so quickly.
My mom and I,
oh yeah, my mom and I both love it, and I'll say spice, and we're like, this isn't really spicy because we can handle a lot of spice. But I just need to start making it because I love it. It tastes so good, and I know that's helping me with everything in my body, my immune system, my skin, my hair, everything.
Yeah, prebiotics are amazing because it feeds your natural gut flora rather than just augmenting with something external. So I'm a big fan of prebiotics in addition to probiotics. Your digestive enzymes, papaya, pineapple, those things help you break down your foods so you absorb your nutrients better. All beneficial. We have everything on the planet we need to be healthy.
Yeah. So what are your opinions on, like, I keep seeing online, like using castor oil with jojoba oil and frankincense essential oil?
Yeah.
As like a nighttime not face mask, but like as a nighttime face cream.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of good quality oils on the skin. It keeps the skin conditioned so it's pliable, so it doesn't crack and wrinkle. It keeps the hydration locked in. Castor oil, with all the data that's been coming out, it's like one of these miracle oils that is beneficial for all different types of things. It'll help the eyebrows and eyelashes grow. And one thing that's important is just to know the sourcing of your oils, making sure you're getting good quality organic oils. Jojoba is awesome, even if you have acne, because it actually is the closest to your skin's natural oil production.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it won't be greasy on the skin. It'll actually absorb, and if you do have acne, you could put a drop of like manuka oil in there. Manuka is anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antifungal, it's like, it's a cousin to melaleuca, but it's not as harsh and drying as tea tree oil is. And frankincense, that's one of our original oils. Like, it's biblical. Like that was one of the original recipes. And I have seen people like heal broken toes and like help heal bruising. It is just so healing. It's just a matter of, A lot of those oils, if they're concentrated, they do need a carrier oil. They do need to be diluted. So, and then if you have sensitivities, just being aware of your ratios to make sure that that carrier oil is enough to dilute it properly. But a little bit goes a long way. And what's interesting is I used to even teach about the electromagnetic frequency of oils and the absorption at the cellular level, and it truly can ignite cellular repair and raise your vibration and frequency as a whole.
Wow.
So it's interesting because if you drink a cup of coffee and then you were to measure somebody's electromagnetic frequency, it'll go down by a certain number. But then if you introduce like essential oils into the mix, especially something like frankincense, which is really high vibrating on the electromagnetic chart, then you can really actually increase your life force. So it's just, I love all that stuff.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So what about like lymphatic drainage? Do you teach your clients that come in how to do like facials at home, like lymphatic drainage at home?
Yeah, I talk to my clients a lot about lymphatic drainage. So this is something that's come up in the last couple of years, especially because what's interesting is like my colleagues in medical, they teach them what the lymphatic system is and where it is, but they don't teach them how to care for it.
Yeah.
So, and that's the system, the one system that doesn't work by itself, that needs manual manipulation. So either through exercise or massage or dry brushing or vibration plate or jump on a rebounder, whatever it takes, you've got to stimulate that system.
What about like gua shas? Do you like those?
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay, good, because I did one this morning. I gua shed my face this morning. I was like, she's going to notice.
Yeah, it's great. And you've got this nice glow and everything. And so what happens is I have so many clients that come in that have stagnated lymph. And even, with the weather changes and allergies and stuff like that, it is always good to do drainage. So I even put out a video at one time to show people how to drain, like even just their sinuses and everything. But especially my clients that come in because they want to reduce their double chin, define their jawline. As far as at-home care goes, gua sha is a really great option because it does move in and move all that lymph, and all of that too. It's so interesting because even there's a chart according to Chinese medicine that connects teeth to the meridians, the organs in the body, and we have channels that even go down to our breasts. And if you're concerned about breast health, we need to be doing lymphatic drainage even on our chest and everything. So that is definitely a big one. And if I feel like people have a lot of fullness, like in their double chin, I do a lot of lymphatic drainage, in addition to, tightening the skin or penetrating, fat burning serums or something like that. But what it does is it increases the microcirculation to the surface of the skin, and that's what brings the blood flow, the nutrients to the skin to feed the skin to keep it healthy. It helps oxygenate the skin for skin repair. And so what a lot of people don't realize is our heart is only responsible for pumping blood to like 25% of our body. So and that's why so many people get poor circulation. So unless you're massaging and unless you're exercising and doing things to stimulate it, then the skin can get dull and laxed, and all these things start happening because the nutrients and the blood flow and everything just simply aren't getting to that area. So yeah, gua sha is a good and I will tell you this, it doesn't matter which stone you use, because I know out there they try to put a lot of esoteric meaning behind it.
I see so much where it's like, you need to use the stainless steel stone, and I'm like, well, I have a jade gua sha I've had for 5 years. I clean it regularly and it works perfectly fine.
You can literally get a silicone or rubber spatula out of your kitchen. It's the massage. It's the mechanical, physical massage that's actually making the difference. It's not whether or not it's rose quartz or jade or stainless steel.
It still works. I'm like, it still works.
Yeah.
I'm fine with
if you pick it up at Dollar Tree, it's okay. If you order it online, but I see them sell these kits for like large amounts of money, and like, this is the best. And then some of them are not real jade, they're other types of stone. It's like, it really just doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's just pretty. It really comes down to, do you want it to look pink, green, silver? What color do you want?
Yeah, absolutely. And now we're in this age too, because I love like biohacking and like technology too.
Yes.
So there's all kinds of cool devices now also, where you can do lymphatic drainage on your face, using microcurrent to stimulate the skin tightening, and then there's an amazing body device that I love and recommend for my clients too, that you can use You can use basically from the neck down. So anybody that's concerned about their neck, it'll stimulate the tightening and lymphatic drainage. You can use it on your arms, your stomach, the back of your legs for cellulite, because cellulite, a lot of people don't realize, you could even be thin and still have texture issues in the skin. It's typically trapped fluids and toxins in the tissues.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and what causes that sometimes, some people, there's a hereditary factor, but if you're eating foods that are processed that are blocking and clogging up your system, then you're going to have a higher propensity to have things like cellulite as well. So,
because I always assume that, like with cellulite, because I grew up in a very athletic family. I also grew up in a family where I was taught to care a lot about my nutrition, and I would always have like bigger thighs than all of my friends, but I never had cellulite. But I'd always notice that some of my friends that were some of them were like stick thin. I'd be like, how do they have cellulite, but I don't? And I just chalked it up to me having more muscle in my legs and that being it, but it's because I was moving more and getting all the fluids out and draining myself properly without even knowing what I was doing.
Absolutely, yeah. And then also muscle eats fat, so burns fat. So that's, yeah, absolutely, because I have clients that come in that are very thin that, you know, they call them like skinny fat, where it's like they're thin, but if they don't have a lot of muscle, then it's just kind of, the tissue is very soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, there's all kinds of cool devices to use at home now and everything. And I tell people, like, that device doesn't burn fat, but it will help with smoothing and tightening and depuffing. So it's a good adjunct to what I do here in the clinic, and it can help them get results faster or maintain their results longer.
And does like I think it's called like Brazilian wood therapy, does that kind of fall in line with that too?
So yeah, wood therapy is beneficial. I just I tend to like a gentler approach.
I see these videos.
Some of them are a little hardcore. Yeah,
oh
like
my God.
yeah, I'm like
leaving looking purple and blue.
Some people that, you know, do get bruised from fascia blasting and all of that stuff. And for me, I'm like, be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, you know, there's definitely a technique, and people need to be properly trained to use it so they don't do more harm than good.
Yeah.
I like, you know what, if I just have something that you can press a button and it uses electrical current to get everything going, it's just a much more pleasant experience.
Absolutely.
I don't like inflicting pain or on my clients. Like I don't want them to experience discomfort if we can avoid it.
So how often should people be coming to get facials? Should it be like a monthly thing?
Yeah, it just depends on their skin, really. Monthly is great. Some people come in every 6 weeks. Some of it depends on age, the condition of their skin, damaged skin, or if they have acne and congestion. So I have some clients that come in just to get all their blackheads and everything cleared out, you know, on a quarterly basis. But then I have some that every month they get full. Some of it too, as we switch the products and kind of like create progress, we may start off seeing each other more often in the beginning, and then we go into maintenance mode where they don't have to come as often. But you know, what I find too, a lot of clients will come in and they'll be like, my skin is oily, but they typically have unbalanced skin, not oily skin, and it's because they've been stripping and they're dry, and so the skin kicks into overdrive to like try to replace what's been removed. But yeah, people that have truly oily skin is more rare, and when I go to do extractions, their skin behaves entirely differently, but they're going to age less because all that good quality oil just keeps them conditioned so they don't crack and wrinkle like somebody with drier, dehydrated skin. So yeah, it's just a case-by-case basis, but that's where you want to consult with your esthetician to see what your goals are. And are you just wanting to maintain beautiful skin, or do you need to do some corrective work? Because if we're doing corrective work, then we're going to see each other more often until we get you to your goals to maintain it.
And what are your opinions on red light therapy?
Red light therapy is great. You know, the different lights, so there's LED therapy and then there's infrared. And LED therapy, you know, red lights for inflammation, you've got yellow for pigmentation, you've got blue to help eradicate bacteria for my acne clients. But with infrared, it actually goes deeper into the layers of the tissues, and it can promote the collagen synthesis, it can promote detoxification. One thing to be aware of though is that if somebody has been using Botox Botox, they might want to beware, or if they have breast implants, they might want to beware, especially going into an infrared sauna, because the detoxification is so powerful. I've seen the body try to push out the Botox,
oh my gosh,
or then become symptomatic because it's releasing, you know, you've got the artificial substance in the body. So I did have one friend that actually, her face swelled up and she got like port wine stains after she had Botox and got into an infrared sauna. That's not something they think about to actually instruct their clients or their patients usually. And the doctors were like, oh, you're just having a histamine response, take a Benadryl. But it was literally just the body trying to push it out.
Oh my
because
gosh.
of the detoxifying power of red light therapy. So, but all great. I mean, I believe so much in light wave therapy and frequency therapy to heal the tissues and the organs within the body. And there's just tons of benefit. And making sure though that your detox pathways are open too when you're doing that. So if it's on the face, usually I'm going to do some lymphatic drainage and stuff to open everything up before it goes over the face. Or if you are going to get in a red light sauna, do some dry brushing first to stimulate, so that way those pathways are clear, so that way all the toxins can flush out properly, and then you don't feel so icky or like symptomatic, like you've got a cold or something later in the day.
Yeah. So this one, I'm excited to ask this question. What are the top 5 things you never want someone to do for their skin?
Botox. I haven't been a big fan of facelifts. There's only one doctor I've seen that I feel like does a really good job. I've seen mixed results with neck lifts, especially just because of I've seen them lift but not improve the texture of the skin. So although they got the actual tightening aspect, is like we were still working on, like, for lack of a better term, the skin was kind of like lizard-like or something, you know. So I was like, wow, they went through all of this trauma. Because there's amazing things that can be done out there with lasers, combinations of lasers, you know, radio frequency. There's some that are minimally invasive, ultrasound therapy. So there's a lot of things that I feel are out there that that can work, that prevent you from going under the knife. And then I would say, let's see, as far as never using, I would say please don't mix and match products from the drugstore or from Sephora or from, I see so many people just pair random products together that they get at TJ Maxx or Marshall's or whatever. And if you don't understand what's in it or how things pair together or what the concentration of ingredients are, then you could end up doing more harm than good.
Like vitamin C with retinol.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, typically when you have a skincare system, things that are formulated to pair together, then you can guarantee specific results. Otherwise, if you are pairing things from different brands, you might need to consult with a licensed professional to look at those ingredients and look at the concentrations and say, okay, yes, you can pair these together, or no, I wouldn't do that. So that's a big one too. I would say, I'm trying to think of what else. You know, one of the things that's really scary out there that's becoming more popular is the phenol peels. Those are really scary. I don't know if a phenol, that's a medical grade peel that really, it does rejuvenate the skin, but it is so harsh. You actually come out with like chemical burn, like it's like you're like a burn victim. And
what condition should you have to even warrant that?
Just really deep-rooted, wrinkly skin. I mean, like you know, if you have somebody that looks like, for lack of a better term, say like petrified wood or something, like you'd have to have like really severe deep wrinkles where I would think that would warrant it.
Like 60 harsh winters in the Arctic.
Yeah, and
moisturizer.
And I just feel like sometimes people have slight imperfections or whatever that could be dealt with in other ways without having to be so harsh. I mean, they literally have to apply it one section at a time, because if you were to apply it to the whole face, it could send you into cardiac arrest.
Like, people are paying, oh my gosh.
Yeah, there was an issue in Brazil where somebody was not didn't have the proper credentials to apply it, and unfortunately a patient lost their life because, and they didn't have the staff for an emergency either. So like that's something like you would not go to an esthetician for, you would go to a medical provider for. So, you know, make sure that you know, who you're going to, you have the credentials. My biggest thing, especially in med spa, is that people want what they want, but they don't go in and ask the right questions. Like, how long have you been doing this? How long was your training? How many patients have you served? You know, they don't go through that. I used to lease a room in a med spa, and people came in asking, you know, what deal do you have? Do you have somebody on staff today? So, you know, they're not really discussing all the other factors. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Botox. You know, I would say, I'm trying to think of anything else, but those are kind of my main things really, is just, you know, making sure that you're not just creating a mix and match with your skincare routine, and just being more gentle and loving on your skin rather than being harsh.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Let me see the last question that you typed up. So what are the trends and statistics currently with beauty treatments? All right. Do you think we kind of talked about that?
Yeah, we did kind of talk about that. Yeah. And so, you know, like the trends now, people are looking to more natural. I'm a fan of like platelet-rich plasma, doing that with microneedling, doing that with injections, because the growth factors have rejuvenating properties to the skin, and it's yours, it's natural, rather than anything synthetic. The reason a lot of practitioners don't do it is because it takes extra time to draw your blood, to spin it, and it's not a product that you can sell. So there's no profit margin, there's no markup on that. They're just been getting paid on the procedure. So you may spend an hour with a client versus, you know, your standard injectables where you can pump out clients every 15 minutes. Yeah. So, and then you've got a product to put a markup on as well. So I would say beauty technology tools. There's lots of new facial devices, body devices, biohacking tools, frequency therapy, like hydrogen water. There's so many different things that are beneficial, you know, to your anti-aging and beauty, or like age reversal or skin repair. You know, Korean skincare is really taking off right now. I've seen it do really well for some people. I've seen some people maybe it didn't agree with. So, you know, it really is a matter of working with your professional to kind of see what, everybody's a little different, you know, so just kind of seeing what works best for you. But they are so big on not damaging the skin and having perfect skin that typically they do have good quality ingredients. They don't have a lot of junk in them. So, and there's new devices that are coming out on the market, even in the med spa space, which are pretty exciting too, that when it comes to skin tightening, because you can never fill your face enough and do enough of injectables to actually tighten the skin or to like lift, you know. So there's other things like radio frequency and you know, RF microneedling. There's a lot of different things that and with RF microneedling, I always caution too, because you want to make sure that you don't lose fat volume, because what keeps us looking youthful is our plump, supple skin. And hot needles can actually slice through like butter. So you want to make sure that know your practitioners and know it's not always the device. Sometimes it's the training and the experience. So make sure that you're always doing your research, you know, on the results and, you know, who's in your market providing the treatments and therapies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. I'm just so happy that I got to meet you, and she actually gave me my first facial ever, and it was the best one I've ever had.
Well, thank you.
So I really, truly appreciate getting to come to your office and tell everyone where you're located.
Yeah, I am located in North Orlando in Longwood, Florida. So I'm at 2933 West State Road 434, Suite 121 in Longwood. And you can see me on social media, both Facebook and Instagram, at Holistic Beauty by Angelique.
So thank you so much, Angelique.
Thank
I
you.
truly appreciate this. And I'm so excited for everyone else to gain all this knowledge and get to hear all of your advice. I know it's going to really impact a lot of people.
Absolutely. I love what I do, and I look forward to connecting with many of you who may be listening. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for watching After Class Coffee. Again, I'm Natasha, and this is Miss Angelique. And we will talk to you guys sometime again. Goodbye.
Bye.